Welcome friends. Let us discuss the third part of our chapter 1, that is Gauss law and its application. In the previous parts we have discussed the derivations of electric field intensity E bar due to an infinite line charge, an infinite sheet of charge, like that we have done many derivations. Now the same derivations, the same expressions for E bar due to infinite line charge and infinite sheet charge are derived by using Gauss law. Okay, before going to Gauss law, we need to know some basic definitions. The first one is electric flux, represented with the symbol Xi. You can see here Xi. Okay, the electric flux is nothing but the electric lines of force around a charge. If you keep a magnet, then we can say that there will be some imaginary lines of force uh, passing from north pole to south pole. So that is nothing but magnetic flux. The number of magnetic lines of force is nothing but magnetic flux. Similarly, the number of electric lines of force around a charge is called as electric flux. And electric flux lines will start from the positive charge and terminate on the negative charge. Okay. Next, electric flux density D. The net flux passing through normal through unit surface area is called as electric flux density. Similarly, in magnetism we will define magnetic flux density, that is magnetic flux divided by area is nothing but magnetic flux density. Now if you compare that with electricity terms, electric flux density is equal to the electric flux psi divided by the surface area. So D equal to psi by S. So the unit of D or electric flux density is coulombs per meter square. Now we know that electric field intensity is Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R square AR bar. So from that, what is D bar? D bar or electric flux density is equal to total flux psi divided by total surface area S, that is Q by 4 pi R square, because here epsilon will be cancelled. So from this we can say that D bar is equal to epsilon into E bar. So the relation between electric flux density and electric field intensity is D bar is equal to epsilon E bar. D bar is equal to epsilon E bar. This relation is very important. So next we will go for Gauss law. Gauss law was suggested by Friedrich Gauss in the year, he lived in the years 1777 to 1855. He was a German scientist and mathematician. Gauss law states that electric flux passing through any closed surface is equal to the total charge enclosed by that surface. So once again we will revise that. Gauss law states that the electric flux passing through any closed surface is equal to the total charge enclosed by that surface. Suppose if there is a closed surface like sphere, now the total electric flux from that sphere is equal to the total charge that is present in that sphere. Okay, Xi is equal to Q, that is nothing but the Gauss law. The surface over which the Gauss law is applied is called as Gaussian surface, which is a very important short answer. They may ask you sometimes to define Gauss law, to define Gaussian surface. The closed surface over which the Gauss law is applied is called as Gaussian surface. So Gauss law states that the electric flux passing through any closed surface, that means electric flux Xi in a closed surface, is equal to the total charge enclosed by that surface. Psi is equal to Q. This is the Gauss law statement. Now, how to represent Gauss law mathematically in integral form? So for that I am taking one closed surface. This is the closed surface I am taking. Next, from that closed surface I am taking a small differential part at which a point P is located. The differential surface area of that part is ds, and the unit vector normal to the surface is an, and the direction of electric flux density is here d bar. Okay, these are the assumptions that we are making. Now this d bar is the main vector. We know that any vector in space can be represented in two components form. Any vector x can be represented as x cos theta and x sin theta. So similarly here d can be represented as d cos theta and d sin theta also. It can be resolved into two components. So the differential surface ds is equal to its magnitude ds into unit vector that is perpendicular is an bar. Like that we can represent. Next, we already know that d is equal to psi by s. The electric flux passing through unit surface area is called as electric flux density. So from that psi is equal to d into s now. So differential flux is equal to electric flux density into differential surface area. So dn is the component of d bar in the direction normal to the surface of ds, where dn is equal to mod d bar cos theta, because we already know that any vector d can be resolved into d can be resolved as d cos theta and d sin theta. So we are considering d cos theta component as the normal component. So in this equation d psi is equal to dn into ds. In this equation, in the place of dn I am substituting d cos theta. So we know that the dot product a bar dot b bar is equal to mod a mod b into cos theta. So here the dot product of d cos theta and ds is given. So dot product of d bar and ds bar is equal to d bar ds cos theta. So from this, so we know that this d cos theta ds is equal to d psi. So in the place of ds cos theta d bar we are representing d psi. So d psi is equal to d bar dot ds bar. Okay, so from this we can say that psi equal to d psi is the differential flux. So total flux is obtained by integrating over the complete surface. So psi equal to integral d bar dot ds bar. This is the integral form of Gauss law, which is very important. Next, Gauss law states that the total electric flux in any closed surface is equal to the total charge enclosed by that surface. So xi is equal to q. Already we proved that xi is equal to integral d bar dot ds bar. Now if you are applying the same law for a line charge, then you can represent line charge density rho l. If you are applying the same formula for surface charge, we can keep rho s. If you are applying same formula for volume charge, we can keep rho v. So like that, according to our need, we can change the formula. Okay, this is the mathematical representation of Gauss law. Next, we need to prove the Gauss law. How we can say that the electric flux psi is equal to the total charge q enclosed by a surface. So for proving the Gauss law, let us take some assumptions. Imagine a point charge q is located at the origin. We are considering spherical coordinate system. See, your charge q is placed at the origin. That origin is also a center for the sphere. A sphere of radius r which is equal to a, and also a cone is assumed with half angle theta, and also a plane with angle phi is also shown in the spherical coordinate system. So from the complete closed surface we are only taking a differential surface ds. I am considering a differential surface ds. Now due to this point charge q, I want to find the effects here in this differential surface ds. Now what is the unit vector along this surface which is perpendicular to this surface is ar. Ar is the unit vector. Okay, these are the assumptions. Now as we are considering spherical coordinate system, the differential surface area in ar bar direction in spherical coordinate system is r square sin theta d theta d phi, which we already learned in coordinate systems, and also ds bar is magnitude of ds into an, that we know already. Next, we know that d bar is equal to q by 4 pi r square ar bar. This is the basic formula for d bar. So we need to find the value of d bar dot ds bar. D bar formula is q by 4 pi r square a r bar, and ds bar is this a square sin theta into d theta d phi into a r bar. So substitute those two values here and find the dot product. After finding the dot product, we are getting the value of d bar dot ds bar as q by 4 pi sin theta d theta d phi, where you will get ar bar dot ar bar, which is equal to 1, because dot product of two similar unit vectors is equal to 1. So this is the final value of d bar dot ds bar. But as we are using spherical coordinate system, we are having a plane of value angle phi which is varying from 0 to 2 pi, and also we are having a cone with half angle theta varying from 0 to pi. So by substituting those limits, you should integrate, and finally we will get that the total electric flux psi in a closed surface is equal to the total charge q enclosed by that surface. So this is the proof for Gauss law, which is very important derivation. So next we will go for applications of Gauss law. Generally, whatever the derivations we have done in the previous sessions, the same derivations can be done with the help of Gauss law also. So we have defined Coulomb's law, we have derived the expression for electric field due to a solid sphere, due to an infinite line charge, infinite sheet charge. All those same derivations can be done with the help of Gauss law also. So let us do each one. So what is Coulomb's law? Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion between two charges is proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So for Coulomb's law, we are assuming a positive charge of magnitude q which is placed at here, and we are assuming a Gaussian surface, a sphere of radius r. So for this, if I apply Gauss law formula, integral E bar dot dA bar is equal to enclosed charge q by epsilon naught. So from this we are getting the same formula for force. So from this expression is nothing but Coulomb's law statement only. Next, electric field due to an infinite line charge. Already the same derivation is done with normal procedure, but we are doing again the electric field due to infinite line charge by using Gauss law. So we are taking an infinite line charge. See this dark line, infinite line charge is placed along the z axis. We are assuming cylindrical coordinate system. A cylinder of radius r is assumed along this line charge. I am not considering the total surface of the cylinder. I am considering only a differential surface of the cylinder, as you can see here. So this differential surface is ds, and the unit vector perpendicular to the surface is ar bar. So ar bar is the unit vector perpendicular to the surface. So here, how many total surfaces are possible for this cylinder? We can see this top part, we can see the bottom part, and we can also see this side. Okay, we can also see this side. So total Gaussian surfaces are assumed to be splitted into three parts that we can clearly see here: sides, top, and also bottom. Okay, so what is the basic formula for Gauss law? The basic formula for Gauss law is q is equal to integral d bar dot ds bar. So this integration is to be done on the sides as well as top of the cylinder as well as bottom of the cylinder. But see, your infinite line charge is placed along z axis. Okay, your infinite line charge is placed along z axis. So we should evaluate the integration of all these three parts, where d bar is equal to dr into ar bar, because d acts only in ar bar direction, and differential surface area in ar bar direction is r d phi dz ar bar. This we can see from the cylindrical coordinate system. Now from the diagram it is clear that the infinite line charge is placed along z axis. Okay, so in the top side you are having plus z direction, in the bottom side you are having minus z direction. So the unit vectors on the top is az, unit vector in the bottom is minus az, so their effects will be cancelled, and the integral d bar dot ds bar in the top side and bottom side will become equal to 0. So it is enough if you do the integration only to the sides, only to the side of the cylinder. So for cylinder, d bar is equal to dr r d phi dz, and differential surface area you are marking. So after substituting them, integrate it from the limits. We know that limit z is from 0 to L and phi is from 0 to 2 pi. So after deriving that, you will get d bar equal to dr into ar bar, that is q by 2 pi rl ar bar. So where q by L is nothing but rho L. So d bar formula you are getting as rho L by 2 pi r into ar bar, but we know that d bar is equal to epsilon into E bar. So from that, electric field intensity E bar is equal to rho L by 2 pi epsilon naught r into ar bar. So it is clear that same formula E bar is equal to d bar by epsilon naught or rho L by 2 pi epsilon naught r into ar bar is the same formula which is obtained in the previous sessions also. So whether you derive the electric field intensity for an infinite line charge by using normal vector procedure or by using Gauss law, we will get the same formula that we can clearly observe here. E bar due to an infinite line charge is equal to rho L by 2 pi epsilon naught r into ar bar volts per meter. This is the formula which is very important. Next, electric field due to a charged solid sphere. So we are imagining a sphere of radius r, and this is the Gaussian surface, and small r value is greater than capital R. You can clearly observe. So from the Gauss law, we already know that integral E bar dot dA bar is equal to enclosed charge by epsilon naught. So we are converting that here, and after that, if you apply the surface area, that is 4 pi r square formula, E equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This is the formula for E, electric field intensity E in a sphere, charged sphere. Next, we will use Gauss law for deriving the electric field due to an infinite plane sheet of charge. See, this is the infinite sheet of charge that we are using. From that infinite sheet of charge which is kept in z equal to 0 plane, I am taking only a small differential sheet ds, and the unit vector in that small perpendicular is an bar. Okay, an bar. So I am assuming a cylinder along this differential surface. So what is the unit vector an, which is equal to az only, no, because this cylinder is kept along z axis. So an vector is nothing but equal to az, that is in the upward direction, and in the downward direction you will be having minus az. So this is the assumption for infinite sheet of charge. So here also, for the differential surface, you should apply the Gauss law, Q equal to integral d bar dot ds bar on the sides, top as well as bottom. But here there is no component of d bar in x and y directions. That means in the sides you are not having any electric flux density d bar. Only in the top and bottom directions only you are having, because your unit vector is acting in the direction of plus az and minus az. So only for top and bottom you will be having the integrations, and for sides it will be equal to 0. That is clear here. Okay. So if you obtain the integration for top and bottom, see, for top you will be having plus az, and for bottom you will be having minus az as the unit vector. And differential surfaces also you can easily obtain dx into dy. So if you add both of them, you will get dz equal to rho s by 2. So again, E bar equal to electric field intensity is d bar by epsilon naught, which is equal to rho s by 2 epsilon naught into az. In general, we can represent ar or an. Okay. So in the previous sessions, we have derived electric field intensity for an infinite sheet of charge by using normal factorial procedure, there also we got E bar equal to rho s by 2 epsilon naught. If we apply Gauss law also, by doing all these integrations and applying Gauss law also, we are getting E bar for infinite sheet of charge as rho s by 2 epsilon naught into Az bar, volts per meter. So this is the expression for electric field intensity due to infinite sheet of charge by using Gauss law. Now Gauss law applied to a differential volume element. Generally there is a point P with coordinates x, y, z. There d bar is represented as dxax plus dyay plus dzaz. But here each coordinate is increased by a magnitude of delta. So x became delta x is increased by a delta x, y is increased by delta y, and z is increased by delta z. That means the new coordinates are x plus delta x, y plus delta y, and z plus delta z. So for that increased volume, by using Gauss law, we know that q equal to integral d bar dot ds bar. So that q will become now dou dx by dou x plus dou dy by dou y plus dou dz by dou z into delta v. This formula is very important. This is Gauss law applied for differential volume of element. This we will use for divergence concept also. So a small problem, small formula based problem, just how to find electric field. Okay, this is the information about Gauss law and its applications. Thank you.